Okay. Hold on, I'm still setting some things up here. I'm not too sure what this falls under. Um, Maybe it's just entertainment, I guess. Sure. Why not? Don't know if I'm even live or anything. How y'all doing today? Hi. I haven't done this in a while, so I'm trying to relearn how to use OBS. I hope there's not too much of a lag. It seems like everything's running fine. Hey, hi, how y'all doing today? I'm Rossdude. What's up? Live stream here. Live chill stream. Not video game related or nothing. Uh, not not a Resident Evil stream. Not Halloween related either. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Not Halloween related. So how y'all been? How y'all doing? Is there anybody even listening? Is there anybody even watching? Probably not, but that's okay. Because this one is more for like the record books, I guess. Sort of like a journal type thing. All right, so there's a few things that I want to bring to everyone's attention. Check out my channel. All right. All right, let's get a little closer look there. Let's get a closer look. All right. 69 subscribers. Well done. Well done, people. Thank you very much. Got a bunch of degenerates and gamers that watch my channel, right? Well, what's the difference to the same thing? I actually think it's 70 subscribers at the moment, so this joke's already sort of outdated and doesn't work. But, hey, at one point in time, there was 69 subscribers. Thanks for that. Thank you, everybody, for that. Good stuff. Good stuff. So, the main reason I'm here is to talk a little bit about this right here. All right, this is the Small Town Anthology, Volume 7. Entries from the 7th Annual Tournament of Writers, published by Vicksburg Cultural Arts Center. Okay, so I'll get to that in a second. First, I do want to talk a little bit updates about the channel and stuff like that. Obviously, I have not been putting out as much content as I have in the past. Life just came hard. Life just amped itself up like 120%. Work is off the hook in a good way, in a very good way, as a matter of fact. I've been focusing a lot on that, on the actual thing that gives me money. I'm gonna need that. I'm gonna need the money. All right, money before hobby, type thing. Um, and I've been focusing on my family. So youngest baby now can run, climb, jump, all that crazy stuff, and I am just exhausted by the day's end. So I'm usually asleep by now, like just totally knocked out. Don't have the strength in me to play video game or even edit Rossdude Reads. I have Aliens, Female War, all the audio recorded and also somewhat edited. I do need to give it one more go through to cut out some of the dead weight there. And then I do have all the video footage recorded as well, but that does have to be edited and then placed in to the video. But that is feeling really daunting at the moment. The whole editing process is feeling really daunting, and I just don't want to do it. I am finding that when I do have free time, I just want to chill out, watch some anime, or play a video game, off the air. Games I've been playing. Well, I did beat Fire Emblem Three Houses with the Crimson Flower route that I actually accidentally went down. Um, so yeah, kill the god, whatever. And then I'm playing Castlevania Circle of the Moon because the Castlevania Advance Collection came out, and Castlevania is awesome. Some of my best games there, best games ever. I did try out Bravely Default 2 a little bit. It's quite good. And Mario Golf, playing a lot of Mario Golf with the kiddos, with them kids. Getting used to golf terms like fairway, fringe, rock. What's the other terms I learned today in golf? Shoot, I already forgot. Run is one of them. Run, and so run is how long the ball rolls after it's hit the ground, after you drive it. But I forget what it's called when it's in the air. I forget what it's called when it's in the air. I'm missing that at the moment. But I'm learning golf stuff through Mario Golf, and golf might be in my future. It sounds fun. It sounds like a good excuse to get out of the house. All right. So that might be something that I do. And so yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the gist of it. It's just life, real life hit me hard, and I don't really have the urge to be online as much as I used to be. So sorry about that. If you're one of the 69 and you're an avid watcher, I apologize. I am gonna stop short of saying I'm going on hiatus, because there's still some things I feel like I want to get out there. I got this really cool little video footage of a recreation of a French Indian War battle that I recorded when I was out in Frankenmuth earlier in the summer. I did a lot of summer activities, ton of summer activities. We were swimming in the pool like every day. Every day we went and jumped in the pool. I was growing my garden, corn, peppers, cucumbers, snap peas. We went to Frankenmuth for a night, stayed there at the Splash Resort. We bought a tent, camped out in the backyard. We went to the Wolf Lake fish hatchery and caught some fish. My son caught 3 fish in less than an hour. I learned how to manhandle a bluegill so I don't get spiked. All right? I've never done fishing stuff in my life, but I kind of learned how to put on the bait. The worms I'm okay with. The grubs, I'm working my way up to the grubs. So we did a lot of crazy stuff during the summer. A lot of good stuff. A lot of great activities. And it all kind of finished out with this Tournament of Writers, a book signing event. So this book signing event here, let me make sure I get the names right here. This book signing event was put on by Alicia Sabers and also Sydney Bastos. So shouts out to Alicia and Sydney for hosting that, and thank you very much for inviting me to that event and hosting this contest, this Tournament of Writers. So the Tournament of Writers is out of Vicksburg, and it's just a little, anybody can submit their fiction, nonfiction, poetry, and if it wins, you get a little cash prize and you get published in this anthology. So I had a first place winner in poetry, of all things, as well as a second place winner in nonfiction for the adult sections. There's children, young adults, and seniors sections. And I won for adult nonfiction and adult poetry. Didn't have any fiction that I was really excited about when I learned about this tournament. I learned about it the day before you had to submit your work, about a day before the cutoff line. And I didn't really have any fiction I was proud of to submit to it. So I just, I was like, no, it was $10 to submit one story per section. So $10 for a total of 3 different pieces, right? 3 different works of literature there. So pretty good deal. I think third place was $10, second place $25, and first place was $50. And then at the event, they had a judge's pick, which won $200. It wasn't me. I didn't win the judge's pick. So, whatever. Maybe next year, right? I'll hit it up next year. I already have a poem written out for next year, so we'll see. So it's pretty cool to be published. It's not my first time being published. It is my second time being published. My first time, I published a short story, comedic sci-fi story called Weeaboo in Love, which is absolute trash, but it is published in an anthology called Cosmic Vegetable, which is still on Amazon last I checked. And I might later do a Rossdude live read special on that as well, because it is just awful. But it would be a good stream for sure. So how I learned about this, my boss at work knew that I was a creative writing major, and made me aware of this contest. And yeah, like I said, it was like I had one day to submit something, and I was like, I didn't have any poetry at all, so I just whipped up some poetry, and I was like, bam, okay, there we go. And I didn't have it written. I didn't have my nonfiction written, but it's like stuff that I've said like a billion times. And I thought, why don't I just put this to paper finally? So I got some pictures here from the event here, the book signing event. So here's the venue. It was a nice, rustic venue. They had some food there, some of those sugar pumpkin cookies. They're in a pumpkin shape, and they had wraps, healthier stuff. So it was pretty cool. There's a closer look at that. You can see all the chairs, the people in attendance. Oh, and yes, before they announced the judge's pick, and before they started the book signing, they had some people read poetry. They didn't ask me to read poetry. I didn't get any notification, which is weird because I was, the adult winner for first place. I don't know. Strange, but well, all my stuff is military related, and maybe they didn't want anything, military related up there. But it's okay. Their excuse was all the poetry that was being read was short, but there were some that were longer than mine. But that's okay. I'm not salty about it. At least I'm not too salty about it. All right. So after they had the poetry reading, and then they announced the judge's pick, they got the book signing going on. So here's me. They had a little name tag for me, as well as the certificate right there. Those are my kids. I blocked their face out with a smiley face, so you weirdos can't figure out who they are. Here's another picture of that. My wife took these pictures. My wife also helped out for the book signing portion. She helped pass out people's editions of the Small Town Anthology. So a shout out to my wife, of course. And also just a quick shout out to my boss for letting me know about this tournament. There is my kids again, all 3 of them this time, crawling all over me like a bunch of monkeys. And there we go. So that's that. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to read this. Live reading. I'm going to start with the second place nonfiction, adult nonfiction uh, piece here. So it's called A Step in the World. And I'm going to tell you right off the bat, it's a terrible title. I didn't know what to title it, and I titled it this. And then right after I submitted it, I was like, ah, man, that was stupid. I should have just called it Signing Up. All right. So, yeah. And you'll hear that again when I go over the criticisms, because they gave us the criticisms, which is awesome. Which is totally awesome, by the way. And I'm going to read those after I read the works. All right. So, Step in the World. All right. By me, Rossdude, your boy, Rossdude. And it's the adult division, second place for nonfiction. I didn't do so well in high school. I wasn't a delinquent or anything. I was a good boy. I just didn't do my homework or study. I had better things to do, like play video games, watch movies, and think about cute girls. My senior year, I didn't even realize I had to get my act together until my girlfriend at the time, Nikki, asked me, "You really aren't preparing for college?" "Should I be?" I responded. She dumped me promptly. A week before prom, too. That's okay. She was half Chinese, half Japanese, but her personality was 100% Americana. Too spicy for me. She saved me the money I would have spent to rent a limo. We rode my buddy's minivan into prom instead. There was another girl my heart belonged to anyway, Jen. Had I done something a little different, she and I would have been long since married and had a family and all that. The girl who got away, the girl who embedded herself in my brain to the point that to this day I still think of her from time to time. I haven't seen or talked to her since I left. I had no future and girls were driving me nuts. On top of that, Sammamish became too expensive to live in unless you were some fancy pants tech guru or something like that. I knew how to turn on a computer, search for lewd anime pictures, and had rudimentary HTML skills. That's about it. The rising social media websites and programs like Dreamweaver made my HTML knowledge obsolete. I'd managed to get into Bellevue Community College, but I didn't have any direction. I failed out of classes and dropped others. My dad paid the bill. He wasn't happy. "If you aren't going to go to school," my dad said, "then you better find a job or join the military." Unbeknownst to him and me, one of those things was about to come true. My dad was a pilot. My mom was too. It's funny how my two younger siblings and I have no taste for aviation. The act of it, anyway. When I was young, my dad was the private pilot for a big Japanese... excuse me on that one. When I was young, my dad was the private pilot for a big shot Japanese CEO. He made trips all over the world and frequently visited Japan. His tales of Tokyo, Osaka, Sapporo, and other Japanese cities must have resonated with me at an early age. When I hit 13 years, I was captivated with Japanese culture. I was born in Florida, and my dad had a good friend from Florida whose son also fell into the otaku lifestyle. "There must have been something in the water down there in Florida," my dad said after he caught me watching Sailor Moon. Maybe that is the reason. Whatever the case is, I loved anime, I loved Japan, and I want to get the hell out of Sammamish. My best friend, Brian, might have also been an influence of things that were to come. He was younger than me by a month, but because he started school in California, he was a grade ahead of me. While I was still a senior in high school, he went off to Prague to teach English. By teach English, I mean party like crazy. He came back from Europe as the party master with countless wild stories of his exploits. Though I don't have a single partying fiber in my body, Brian's tales of far-off lands and exotic peoples served to increase my appetite for travel. I landed a job at the Issaquah Barnes & Noble, which I've heard has been closed since I left. Amazon consumes all. I worked as a cashier, customer service rep, and stocking boy. When I finally gave up on college entirely, I figured I'd just work at Barnes & Noble forever. But the things I mentioned earlier weighed heavy on me. It started at Barnes & Noble. I wore a wrinkled polo shirt, wrinkled khakis, and old scuffed-up, dirt-ridden tennis shoes. My brown hair was a grease-covered, messy mop plopped on my head. I manned the information booth. It was slow. If you've ever worked a customer service job, you know you just can't stand there idly, even if you have nothing to do. I took it upon myself to pretend to dust the map section shelves. I must have looked like I hated life when he showed up. He was a tall, skinny man. He wore jeans and a normal long-sleeve shirt with a baseball cap on his dome. There was an energy about him of raw, pure confidence. "How can I help you?" I asked as I stopped pretending to dust the shelves. "Could you help me find a book called Game of Thrones?" Keep in mind this is 2004, many years before HBO's Game of Thrones would become a household name. Yeah, it's right this way." I led him to the fantasy sci-fi section and took him to the M's for Martin. I pulled excuse me. I pulled the paperback novel from the shelf and handed it to him. "There you go," I said. "Thanks," he replied. "Hey, you mind if I ask you a few questions?" Weird. "Sure." "You in school?" "No." "Why not?" "Just need some time to figure things out." "You ever think about joining the military?" I had. Let's rewind a bit. I had several supervisors at Barnes & Noble. I don't remember any of them except Paul. Paul was a skinny, cigarette-smoking, energetic old man. He once told me, "I only read sci-fi and military history." I think I latched onto him because he was one of the few employees at Barnes & Noble who weren't hippies. He'd also been in the Marine Corps. He'd done the full 20. I'd been a drill instructor and had been stationed in Japan. Even married a Japanese woman. I liked listening to his stories. I asked him once, "What was boot camp like?" "You know that movie Full Metal Jacket?" "Yeah." "Like that, but 100 times worse." One time I was mulling over the idea of joining the military at my mom's place, and she said, "Join the Air Force. Whatever you do, don't join the Marine Corps." Life is kind of funny. Back in the fantasy sci-fi section, the man said, "The reason I ask is because I'm the Marine Corps recruiter for the area." He handed me his card. Staff Sergeant Smith. "Think about it, and if you're interested, give me a call." That's really all it took. The business card in my hand was like a key to a doorway leading me out of my dead-end life. I called later and scheduled a meeting at the Armed Service Recruiting Center just down the street from the community college. Smith wore his dress blue Charlies. His blue trousers bore the blood stripe down the side of each leg, a beige belt with a gold buckle wrapped around his waist where his crisp beige shirt was tucked. The top bottom of his shirt was undone, revealing a white shirt underneath. His ribbons were proudly displayed on his left breast. The rank of staff sergeant shone on the side of each short sleeve. He sat me down at a table and took out a bag filled with dog-like dog tag-like flashcards. Each tag had a word on it, like responsibility, purpose, adventure, and camaraderie. He told me to organize them from what was most interesting to me to least important. What was most important to me to least important. I don't remember the order. Looking back on it, I don't think the order mattered. I remember just chatting with him like we were longtime buddies. I told him about my thirst for adventure and getting out of my current situation. Can you guys send me to Japan? No promises, but it's possible. We have bases there. Good enough answer for me. I'll be real with you. I didn't want to go infantry. That's basically how I put it to Smith. Anything but infantry. Look, I love my infantry brethren. They are amongst the smartest, funniest, and most badass people I've ever met in my life. But I didn't want to get shot at. Smith suggested military intelligence. I was down. But when he asked if anyone in my family was from a different country, I mentioned that my stepmom was from Scotland. I guess that doesn't fly in military intelligence. Gotta watch out for those Scots. Smith then suggested avionics. I thought this was neat. Maybe I didn't have the nerve to be a pilot, but I could continue the family's legacy in aviation through working on flight electronics. Looking back at it, I'm pretty sure someone having a stepmom from Scotland doesn't disqualify them from military intelligence. Smith probably just had an avionics quota he had to meet. Doesn't matter. If I placed high enough on the ASVAB, I could join up in avionics. I don't remember. Excuse me. I don't remember the time between that meeting and when I took the ASVAB, but I did eventually take it. I remember guessing on most of the questions. There was no way Smith was going to send me through avionics. I was a dummy. Still am. Still am in some regards. Later that day, Smith called me up and said I did great and that I qualified for avionics. Like I said, I think there was a quota to meet. He told me the next day was the medical check, and I had to do it bright and early the next day at the MEPS Center in downtown Seattle. A room was reserved for me at the Holiday Inn across the street from the MEPS, and Smith drove me in. I never stayed in a hotel room by myself until that point. Nerves and excitement prevented me from getting much sleep. The next morning there were a bunch of boys present for the health check. It was a whole day event. We went from station to station where a doctor inspected a different aspect of our bodies. I don't remember many of the details, but some tests stuck out, like the famously named duck walk, where we start at one side of the room and had to walk across the room in a crouched position. And then there was a prostate check. I walked into a small office where a doctor in a comically cliché white lab coat told me to face away from him, drop my pants, bend over, and spread my cheeks. Nothing went in, but the doc took a nice long look. Ask any Marine about the prostate check, and they'll get a chuckle out of it. By the time the health check ended, it was 5 or 6 in the afternoon. Everyone was tired. They had us wait in the lobby for a good while before someone came out and said, "It's time to swear in." Was this really it? Was I really doing this? I didn't want to put everything I did for the health check to waste, so I figured, why not? Let's just jump in the water. We all went into a room that had a podium and the American flag. We all stood in organized intervals from each other. A man stood at the podium and told us to raise our right hands. We did. Then he told us to repeat after him. We did. We gave the oath. I'd be lying to you if I said I remember the exact words. What it comes down to is we swore loyalty to America, that we'd protect it and die for it if we had to. Then we signed the documents. I was in the delayed entry program, which meant I wasn't shipped off right away. This marked my time as a poolee. I had 5 months to tie up loose ends and get my body ready for boot camp. Smith met me outside the building. He congratulated me, gave me a packet and a videotape that gave me some idea as to what to expect. Nothing can really prepare you, though. He also gave me a Marine Corps sticker and a gray shirt that had an image of the Marines raising the flag on top of Mount Suribachi. Under the Marines was written, the few, the proud. Smith drove me back to my mom's. He told me he'd see me later at the pool function and drove off. My family was out. The condo was empty. I threw my clothes off, turned on the shower, and got in. While the hot water poured over me, the realization set in. I bounced up and down. I screamed with excitement. I'd finally taken a step forward in the world. I turned off the shower, got out, put on some boxers, and donned the new Marine shirt. Exhausted, I plopped down into my bed and fell asleep. My mom woke me up an hour or two later and saw the shirt. "What did you do?" Her eyes were wide with disbelief. "Well, I sure as hell didn't join the Air Force." I swore in. I'm shipping off for Marine boot camp in 5 months. She cried. When I told Paul the next day at work, he patted me on the shoulder and said, "Hoorah." I'd hear him say that slogan many times over the next couple of years. I told Jen, hoping to score some points with her, her dad had been in the Army in his youth, and maybe me going into the Marines would impress her. If it did, I couldn't tell. She wasn't cold to me or anything. She was just normal. We were friends, which is what drove me nuts. If you ever fall in love with a girl who's your friend, be upfront with them. And if the relationship doesn't evolve, walk away. It's better for both parties. Brian didn't like it. He was a more peace and love kind of guy. This is where a rift between him and I began to grow, and that gap would never close again. My dad was proud, but uncertain. He knew me for the lazy, aloof, unathletic boy that I was. I couldn't get through community college. How was I supposed to get through the Marine Corps? It was an understandable concern. My mom, though, she had been scared at first, believed in me and filled me with courage. The next step was the pool functions held at the recruiting station every week. Smith was tasked with the daunting mission of getting my gamer boy body ready for MCRD San Diego. Even though the pool functions would be but a sample of boot camp, they would prove to be my first test in my path of becoming a United States Marine. All right, that's where it ends. That's it. So that is the second place winner. Just reading it right there, there's a few things that were a little clunky in the writing. I mean, obviously a little clunky in the presentation, of course. That's all me right now. But there's some things that could have been reworded to be a little bit more clear, flow a little bit more better there. All right. So that was a Step in the World, which is such a terrible title for this piece. Just call it Signing Up. There's already a sequel in the works. It's going to be submitted next year. All right. And now for the poem. All right, so the poem, End of the Crucible, won first place for adult vision poetry, which is crazy. I'm not a huge poem guy. You know, if it's not Beowulf or Iliad or Odyssey, I'm not huge on poems, especially modern day poetry. It just misses me kind of entirely. And I kind of have PTSD from writing love poems to girls in high school and it never, you know, panning out the way I had wanted it to pan out. Yeah, hey, for you high school boys out there, don't be writing creepy ass poetry to the girls you like, all right? Little tip, little tip there. All right, so here we are. End of the Crucible by Rossdude. I didn't write Rossdude in here, but you know, you get it. Dirt, hills, rocks. The sun sets. Orange sky. Boots pound the ground. I have my pack. Inside is extra skivvies, spikes, a shelter half, gas mask, MREs. My sleeping bag is strapped to the top. I have my flak jacket. I have my load-bearing vest. The pouches contained empty magazines. I have my war belt. It has empty grenade pouches. And my 2 canteens. My rifle is slung over my right shoulder. My helmet sits on my head. Its strap is snug around my chin. A platoon of 80, broken up into 2 lines, both sides of the path. Drill instructors patrol up and down the middle. Smoky hats. Some recruits have fallen. Some have dropped their gear. Some are being smoked. Up and down the line they run in full gear. Sweat, heavy breathing, hungry, thirsty, sleepy. The guide's flag flutters further down the line. Platoon 3035, indigo. The boots are heavy. There will be blood blisters to tend to. Dirt crunches between my teeth. That's it. From my experience in the Crucible. Crucible is like the end part of boot camp. Well, it's if you go to MCRD, it's not the end part of boot camp. It's the end of the hardest part, I should say. You still have one more month after it. But that was on the way back. I just had a flash of a memory. Walking back to the squad base after climbing the Reaper. It's the last hill to climb. So throw it out there. I'm gonna write military stuff. Well, I'm gonna let my military experience work for me for once in that regard. But yeah, so that's it for the works themselves. But I have even more fun to read than the stories themselves is the scores and comments, aka the criticism, the critique. So let's start with A Step in the World. All right. Let's see what we got. Okay, so there are 3 judges. It looks like you can get a score of 100 as like the best score. The first judge gave it a 59. All right. Here's their comments. Had a catch line. The title is not tied into any part of the story. It is. It weekly is. And look, I'm not defending the title. It's an awful title. Author did develop ideas and did use relevant detail. I general did present the story that was organized and maintained focus. I think they meant to say in general. In general. Did not get a clear connection as to the intended readers. Good grammar usage. Story is adequate, but not unique. Okay, fair enough. The title definitely is an issue with that one. I guess he's saying that he or she, whoever, is saying in general did present a story that was organized and maintained focus. I feel like it didn't maintain focus, reading it just now. I felt like there were moments where I kind of drifted off, and I think there was a kind of like a continuity error or like a mistake there where my dad said get a job or join the military, and then I wrote in there, well, unbeknownst to him and I, one of those things was going to come true. Well, they both came true because I had a job when the recruiter found me at my job. So that sentence is kind of weird and stupid. Not unique. Is it not unique? Maybe it's not. I don't know. I felt like my attitude in like my voice in the piece was kind of unique, at least when you're thinking of like literary works and stuff like that, especially modern days. So I'm a creative writing major, and obviously I had to read a lot of sort of modern fiction, nonfiction, stuff like that. And the literary stuff is not my favorite kind of thing. Like the kind of that it always feels like pretentious. You know what I mean? And I felt that my voice in that was not pretentious. And I don't know if that's unique or not, but I was hoping for something that just wasn't me. So maybe I'm not unique. It's very possible. I don't think I am, actually. All right, so here's the second judge. Second judge gave me a 67 on this. Able to develop character, they said. Ideas clear. Some skipping around. I liked the story. Uses unknown letters. So I used MEPS, MCRD, acronyms. And I'll explain that a little bit in a second. Would have preferred verbally hearing. Oh, well, then you got it in this video. And it was kind of choppy. But I had told the story many times verbally. When anybody asks, what it's like to sign up, like I told it almost just like that. I always mention the girls, girls always driving me freaking crazy. So, so yeah, okay, good. So the last judge gave me an 80. Said, okay story, ideas rushed and not explained. I enjoyed the narrator's voice, but there needs better pacing and fleshing out for the reader. And I agree. I agree with that. I think the pacing needs to be less choppy, a little bit better. I think there's some fluff in there I can cut out, and I think there's some words and some grammar I could rearrange there to make it flow a lot better. So I definitely agree with that. Going back to the unknown letters, though, from the previous person, I don't want to explain acronyms. I think that would actually bog the pace down. And I think you can figure out what the acronyms are in the context. It doesn't really matter that you know exactly what the acronym stands for. You get it. You understand that MEPS is where I went and got my physical. That's all you need to know, really. So I'm actually proud of myself in that regard. All right, and for some reason they kind of had. I feel like they had kind of the most harsh critique there, but they gave me the highest score, 80. So that's cool. All right, so moving on to the poem. All right, End of the Crucible. This is, again, scores and comments. First judge gave me a 94, and they wrote a huge chunk of comments here. Says, you've created a fresh contribution to the war poetry genre. Your work reminds me of Tim O'Brien's war memoir, The Things They Carried, in the way that the narrator lists what is in his or her pack, and that lists humanizes the carrier. So, okay, I'm going to stop right there for a second. Tim O'Brien. Tim O'Brien is a creative writing starter kit author there. And yeah, I had hoped no one would have brought him up But I'm not going to lie to you. When I was writing, what is in my backpack on the poem, I did remember the things they carry. So yeah, spot on there. Um, you have some interesting techniques going on here. I appreciate how your short lines mirror how hard it is to think when you're marching, how the soldier is reduced to essential consciousness. The long row of simple lines looks like a row of soldiers. Your list of the pack contents is an interesting mixture of hardware like grenade pouches and life-giving things like canteens. I also like the contrast of the long row of one-word lines followed by the most poetic line where you use alliteration to flow out the guide's flag flutters further down the line. Great use of imagery. 2. To make the poem feel concrete and real, even with the sparse language. Similar to Hemingway in that sense. Oh, so we got Tim O'Brien dropped. Now we got Hemingway dropped. All right, Hemingway again is also another starter set creative writing major or literary major. We got Tim O'Brien name drop. We got Hemingway name drop. Boom. Next Tim O'Brien right here. Bam. Next Hemingway right here. Powerful conclusion with dirt crunches between my teeth. A small, compact, highly personal image lodged at the end of a long line of soldiers. So, good comments. Good comments. Very good comments there. Dig it. All right. Now, again, that was 94 for the score. The next judge gave me a 73. All right. What were they thinking? Huh? No, I'm just kidding. Illusion used for MREs. Not everyone might know what that is. More detail, story needed. Meter does not follow a pattern. Good descriptions. So, when it comes to creative writing, all right, one of the big parts in the creative writing program at my college was taking criticism, basically. You turn in your stories, everybody reads them, and the next week or the next class, you get reamed for 2 hours. All right, you just have to sit there and take it. And ultimately, it's up to you if you're going to, acknowledge that criticism, if you're going to agree with it, if you're going to change your work because you thought it was helpful criticism, or if you're just going to be like, well, I think they're wrong and that this is better as it is. And this is an instance where this is better than what they're saying. They're basically saying not everyone might know, what MRE means. All right, well, you don't really need to know exactly what it is. Again, it's something that's in the pack of a soldier or a corpsman or a marine. It's something that we have, right? So I'm not going to bog down the pace by listing out meal ready eat because no one in the world calls an MRE meal ready eat. Yo, pass me the meal ready eat. No. Right? It's MRE. Okay? So again, get the context. Get the context. So that's my take on that criticism there. More detailed story needed. I don't think so. I don't think I needed more detail to flesh out a story. If anything, there's some things I feel like I should cut. I think, the first commenter, I think was right that it's a pretty clear visual of what's going on. Good descriptions. Okay. Cool. So ultimately, I kind of disagree with all those comments. All right. And so the last judge gave me 100. All right. So I got a 100 here. And it's just magnificent. I imagine these words are every soldier's minute by minute, 24/7 purposeful meditation in hopes of deliverance. This is why we say God bless our troops. So I think I was lucky to land a God bless our troops type person. And I'm thankful for that. So thank you, for that comment, whichever judge you were. If you ever stumble upon this video. Um, yeah. So yeah, 100. So I found I lucked out and got the right judge. Imagine if I got like, someone who like really hates the military, some commie bastard or something like that, and they're just like 0. You know what I mean? So, um, whatever. It's great. Thank you, all judges, for the comments. Um, cool, cool little program, and I'm definitely going to send some stuff next year. And if this poem won first place in adult division, the poem I have ready is going to blow them away. And the clue, the preview, I should say, or the hint, is that it has to do with MRE. All right, and actually, for that second judge there, um, the title is Meal Ready Eat. All right, so you actually do get to know what it is if you're paying attention. I have a sequel for Signing Up, right? A Step in the World, Signing Up. I have a sequel for Signing Up, about my time as a poolee. So it's going to be a continuation. And if people again are paying attention, they'll notice that it is kind of a continuation of the Marine Corps process there. And I should probably get some fiction. I should probably whip up some fiction or revise some fiction I have ready to go and submit that too. So the next year I'll do the whole shebang. Do the whole shebang. All right. Well, that wraps up this live reading. I hope you enjoyed. I think I'll do it again with the Cosmic Vegetable, Weeaboo in Love, just to see just how terrible that story is. How goofy ass that story is. But yeah, most money I ever made writing. All right, creative writing major. That's the most money I ever got writing, and it's in this book. I'll put a link into the website in the description after the stream here. But yeah, what we got in the future for the channel? Like I said, I'm gonna try and get out that Aliens Female War. Rossdude reads. I do want to wrap up the Claire route and Resident Evil 2 remake for Halloween, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. I honestly don't know if that's going to happen. For the last 2 years, I did a Halloween special, and I don't think that will happen this year at all. I don't think that's going to happen. I want it to happen, but I'm just too exhausted to do all that editing. That editing is just the thought of that editing is like, don't want to do it. I really don't want to do it. But yeah, that's where we're at. I'm gonna try, and squeeze some things out here and there. Probably Rossdude read stuff. I'm feeling more, at ease when I just play games off the air. And I need that recharging, because I've got the family and work. Work though is going so good. Work is going so good. I cannot even believe that I'm loving work this much. It's wild. It's a wild thing to actually look forward to Monday. It's weird. And if you're not there yet, I hope you get there someday, because it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to be like, man, I cannot wait to go into work on Monday. And yeah, let's keep writing for this annual tournament of writers. With that. Have a good night. Be safe. Have fun. Not too much fun. All right. Don't get too crazy. Don't get too wild out there. Again, I'm Rossdude. Peace. Now I'm gonna press this button. You're gonna watch me press this button. All right. Here we go. See you later.